Hey everybody, welcome to Smirking Reviews. This is the Dark Knight, and I just came back from hanging out with my good friend Rob as we went to see the new movie based on another section of my life called The Batman. And it was directed by Matt Reeves, the man behind Cloverfield and War for the Planet of the Apes. And also, I think one of the best movies that he ever did was Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, actually. But anyway, that's just my opinion. So Rob asked me, hey, why don't you sit you here before you go back to Gotham? Why don't you do the intro? And so he handed me this phone with the IMDb plot description. And so here it is for those of you who don't know what this movie is about. Well, first off, it's about me, the Batman. But it says here that it's when the Riddler, a sadistic serial killer, begins murdering key political figures in Gotham. Batman's forced to investigate the city's hidden corruption and question his family's involvement. So it also stars Robert Pattinson as me, another guy with the name Rob that I hang out with. But is this Rob any good? We'll find out in the video. This also stars Zoe Kravitz as Selena Kyle. But is she Catwoman? We'll see. Also, we got Colin Farrell giving an incredible performance as the Penguin. We've got Jeffrey Wright giving a great performance as Commissioner Gordon. And then we also have Paul Dannell, who plays a really strange version of the Riddler I've never seen. He's like, do it yourself, Riddler, I think, or something like that. But everybody's just gonna say, oh, he's just starting out. But it's like, come on, we've seen this guy like for 40 years and 50 years or whatever long it's been. We need an origin story for these villains now too. Okay, and I'm getting off topic. I got to get this over to Rob. So hopefully, I'm just going to hang out, have some brewskis, watch him review this, and then I'm going to head back to Gotham City. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Enjoy the review. Okay, I'm going. All right, jeez. Don't freak out, man. It's just a couple of words. Why do you care? You say you're not in it for that anyway. Okay, I guess I forgot to tell you to like and subscribe to the channel. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Am I done? Can I have a beer now? All right. Beer me, please. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Bats. Appreciate it. Love you, buddy. Although, it is kind of strange that you never see me and Batman in the same place. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But seriously, folks, welcome to my review of The Batman, a movie that I was not on the hype train to see because I've been pretty Batmaned out. I don't know how to explain it other than I think a whole life of Batman. I feel like I've heard every possible story. I've read hundreds of comic books. I've watched hours and hours of the animated series and movies and other iterations, TV shows. I have so many memories of Batman that after The Dark Knight Rises, I had a real bad taste in my mouth, and the direction that the comic has been taking, for me personally at least, and like I said, I feel like Bruce has done everything. He's fought with the Ninja Turtles at this point, right? So I was not just, I just didn't really care about this movie. I like Matt Reeves as a director. I do think, I agree with Batman. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, I think, is a fantastic movie. Cloverfield, I would, look, I didn't really like the movie story. I didn't really care about the people in it, I guess, but I thought that the production of it is great. And that's what you can say about Matt Reeves movies, including The Batman, is that they're well made. They look good. They sound good. The action's good. I really, really, really do dig most of his work. And just like everybody else is saying, I didn't want to not like this movie. All right. I just wasn't as hyped as everybody else is. And I think that DC fans have deserved, some at least continuity Like not continuity, consistency. They need continuity though. There's some continuity that we need too, but consistency, And so it's just been, that helps not caring for me. I got a lot going on in my life, so Batman is just another Batman movie is just not high priority unfortunately. Then I saw it, and I can say I can mostly report like what everybody else is talking about. This is just like other Matt Reeves movies. This movie is fantastic looking, fantastic sounding. The action's fantastic. The story is pretty decent. And almost all the acting is really, really good. In fact, all the acting is good. There's just choices that were either on the page or directing or the actor's choices that I didn't like as much. But it didn't change that I when the critic in me and the fan in me were fighting, the fan won more than the critic. But the critic part of me really didn't have that much to say except for personal choices. And so the critic part of me really liked this movie, and the fan of me mostly liked this movie, I guess is the end of what I'm trying to say about this. The music, fantastic, by Michael Giacchino. If I butchered that name, I'm sorry. I butcher names on here all the time. But at least I try, and I try to sound confident when I say it. All right. The music is like another character. The city's like another character. And when you do all that, when you get the atmosphere right, you get the tone right, you get the feeling that Batman should be feared through music and tension building and just all that stuff. Just is all here. So Matt Reeves knocks it out of the park production-wise. This movie is top to bottom just about freaking amazing. The best looking, best sounding Batman movie ever. And that's not to take away, because I know there's people that are going to see this movie like they see anything and they compare it to everything else. And, like I'm there with you. Batman 89 was all I ever needed. We got Batman Returns, and I thought that was pretty good too. And there's been good. I really like Batman Begins. I think Batman Begins is the superior film of all three of those Nolan movies in many ways. And this is just adding to that. And by the end of this, I really do want to know what happens next. And by that, I want to talk about just briefly that I'm sick of trilogies. Don't worry about, we got to get it in 3. Well, what 4? Or how about if you tell the story right, you got to get it in 5. I want to see consistent, good Batman with a through story that goes all the way to the end naturally and organically. And if it takes 4 movies, 6 movies, 10 movies, I don't care. Just as long as they don't have to focus on just, we have to be part of the Holy Trinity. Because I think there's a really good long story to tell. And Robert Pattinson is still a youngish man. So get that guy on the dotted line and start make Matt Reeves your Batman guy. Can we just make him the Batman guy for a while? All right. For this series, I want to see this story continue with this director, this writer, and these people. Because I do think that a lot of things that need improving can be improved in the next series of movies that they make, if they choose to go that route. And I think they probably will, because I think this movie is going to do gangbusters. And so now that I've praised the movie part of it like enough, other than the runtime, it is long. And for the most part, you don't feel it. But there's a beat where I thought the movie was over. I had not looked at my clock the entire time, and when I did and realized I still got about 40 minutes left, including credits, I think. That does include credit. Yeah, that was a lot. And so part of me was now waiting for the movie to be over. But not that the movie that I got was bad. The last 30 minutes of this movie is really good. It just really did feel like it was ending. But not in a Return of the King kind of way, where it just kind of meanders for a while. And you go, is it over or not? So just be mindful because, yeah, I mean, if you got a family like me, this is a 3-hour movie. I have to take a look at my schedule and go, where can I fit this in? I saw it at 10 in the morning at the IMAX. So that's where I was. And if you got a family, this could turn into, depending on what your day looks like a 6-hour, 7-hour journey, depending on what your day is. Just saying, plan for this movie accordingly. Because if you got little kids, man, this movie will hold their attention sometimes. Let them take a nap. If your kid falls asleep during this movie, let them sleep. I think you'll be better off for it. And I don't mean because they're going to miss something. I mean, your kids are going to watch it a million times when it comes out on Blu-ray or streaming or whatever. Anyway, so just saying, little advice from film critic Rob. Okay, so now we just got to touch on, really, I mean, the actors. All right, so we got Robert Pattinson as Bruce Wayne and Batman. Now, since this movie really is aptly titled, most of this movie is him in the suit, and as other people have said, all that's fantastic. It's all good. All the Batman stuff in this is some of the best Batman stuff, and some of the Batman stuff I wanted to see my entire freaking life. With like I said, hundreds of hours of watching and reading, probably thousands. Now, let's not go that far, but a lot. All the fighting, the presence that the music helps for this character, the way that you really feel the power and the fear that this character that has already earned in the 2 years he's been doing it. Everything Batman's here. The detective work is here. Seeing him just do this, like, it reminds me of just all the books and parts of Arkham Asylum and stuff, just doing all that detective work that when you want to be Batman, you want to feel like Batman. You want to see, like, not just him sitting at the freaking Bat computer. I mean, there's that here, but there's also just, you get to see the inner workings of his brain a little bit. You get to see that this guy is no slouch intelligence-wise. That's all really, really good. His whole outlook and the fact that he is a developing Batman and not ready for everything that's coming. That everything there are moments in this movie where we get to experience some firsts for Bats, and I liked all of it. It was from beginning to end. Batman in this movie is just awesome. And Robert Pattinson's a big part of that. But I just didn't, just like in the, I tried. Right? I think I most of the time can separate things. I just didn't like the choices that they made as far as Bruce Wayne goes. I thought the cadence of his voice, I know he's supposed to only be 2 years in, but I just couldn't quite get there, and I don't think it's his fault. I don't know whose fault it is that I didn't like, that I didn't really care. I didn't hate it. It was something is missing. Something is missing from this performance, and I don't know what it is that I need to get me there, but I do think that, like I said, in future movies, I think it's possible for them to get to where I want it to go. But look, I think most people aren't going to feel like I do, and that's fine. I'm glad. If you feel the opposite of this from me, I wish I was you. So, but when he's mostly in the suit, it doesn't really matter. But the Bruce parts just didn't cut it for me. I just didn't feel like there's this moment, and I said spoilers, but I don't really think I want to spoil too much, so I don't think I'm going to. I'm just going to give you broad strokes, right? I don't think I told you anything that you absolutely would, freak out about. So let's next talk about Zoe Kravitz. So Zoe Kravitz, look, her name is Selena Kyle. She has some cats. She appears to be spry. And for this movie, what they needed this Selena Kyle to do, it was good. She just wasn't, again, it just wasn't the Selena Kyle that I was interested in. I want to see. I didn't really kind of feel their chemistry. I kind of felt like their relationship is a little like it's weird already. In the lore, it's already weird, right? But this just felt a little just too. I don't know. I don't know. Again, something's missing. But I think, again, growth. The characters will have time to grow. And again, it's not the actor's fault. I think she's good in this. I just didn't like the direction of where I don't. Now, Andy Serkis is also Alfred. I don't think he got enough to do. And there's a line in here that I'm not going to, this isn't really spoiling anything, but they say you're not my father. Even though he says it like, you're not my father, very just kind of, I think that's one of the reasons that I have a problem with the performance a little bit is it's just so soft. It feels so soft. Like so soft spoken. And again, it's early in his career. It just didn't. So anyway, their relationship, whatever. But Andy Serkis doesn't really get much to do, and he does that, you're not my father thing. And I feel like I've heard and read like so many times that he didn't get enough to do. And I guess, when the point is that the focus is on the main character, which that should also be something to bring up, is it's so nice that like we always talk about there's not enough so-and-so in the so-and-so movie. This movie is the opposite of that in the best possible way. So, it's like when you say there's not enough Transformers in a Transformer movie or something like that. This, you get all the Batman you want. Anyway. Then you have Jeffrey Wright, who is one of the best Gordons. He's as at least equal to Gary Oldman. I think both of those guys just nail it. Both of them give a different performance, but it's the same guy, and you feel like it's the same guy in some way. That's amazing. And I'm so ready. Like, that was when I heard about this movie initially, and they said Jeffrey Wright was Commissioner Gordon. I was like, yeah. He was the first name that I was like, the rest of them I was like, no. Jeffrey Wright, I had no qualms about. I was like, yep, Gordon, give it to him. He will rock it. And he did. And the chemistry between the two of them, they rocked it. They freaking nailed it. Now, Colin Farrell as the Penguin, right? Colin Farrell has been doing, I don't know when it happened, but after, I want to say it had happened after Alexander. Somewhere after Alexander, and I think around In Bruges, Colin Farrell really became the Colin Farrell that we're seeing now. And I think Colin Farrell is doing some of the best work in Hollywood. Period. End of sentence. Drop the freaking mic. Between this, the Northwater, Horrible Bosses, like I said, In Bruges, so many movies where he's like True Detective season 2. He was one of that may not be everybody's favorite season of True Detective, but I loved him in it, and he has just been so consistent. And in this, he is the Penguin. He's the Penguin I've been wanting my whole life. When Gotham came out, and no disrespect to the guy who played the Penguin on Gotham, because I think that guy did the best job he freaking could with what they gave him. I think he was amazingly over the top. But this right here, I mean, he didn't have the monocle or nothing, but he in the top hat, but who cared? He is just another great character that he created. He became that guy that I wanted. I loved it. I was here for it. And John Turturro. We don't talk enough about the mobsters in these movies. They've been played by really good actors mostly. I think, the high watermark was Tom Wilkinson in Batman Begins. And he wasn't in it enough. Because you had Eric Roberts in the second one. And I don't dislike Eric Roberts, but Tom Wilkinson to Eric Roberts, just not the same to me. And you had Jack Palance, at 89. And Jack Nicholson, and Christopher Walken in Batman Returns, right? We don't talk enough about the scummy business guys. And John Turturro as Falcone in this, right? I was so happy to see like somebody like John Turturro being the gangster. I've loved that guy since, I think, Miller's Crossing, Barton Fink. And I was so happy to see him here. He kills it. He rocks it as this guy. And, yeah, I think that's... And then you got Paul Dano, right? And, yep, now we got to talk about the Riddler. We got to talk about this Riddler, who I described as... he feels like the guy who should be working for the Riddler. Like, he looks like somebody, like, who did a do-it-yourself henchman, like, outfit. And he's just like, the Riddler's like, okay, you're going to give everybody the information. You're going to leave the clues. You're going to do all the dirty work. And I'm just going to sit back. And I'm going to let you be the one that gets caught. Because it's nothing against Paul Dano. This was not a Riddler. Again, they ride this line of like, we want to be real, but we want to embrace the comic book origins and how it looks. But we just still want to be grounded. And I'm tired of grounded. I like a little ground, but like Batman 89, man, the sets looked fake. It didn't have the best, like it didn't look like this movie, and I was still fine with it. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay, Wonder Woman 84, whatever you, my brain has been turned around on that. But like, say what you will about Wonder Woman and Aquaman, and stuff like that they've been putting out recently. They're fun, and they know they're comic book movies. Good or bad, they are embracing the crazy because it's just comic books. Just be freaking wild. Don't be afraid to just be a comic book. You don't have to always be down in the freaking gutter. Even though Batman and Gotham City, you have to have some, it has to be there. But I would like to see a little bit, more like leanings towards the comic books. And just that tone for a Batman movie, I would love to see a more comic book tone, or like the animated series. In fact, there's a big part of me that just wants them to make a live action animated series. I mean, if Star Wars is making live action, Mandalorian stuff, like live action cartoons over there on Disney Plus, why not do it for their products too? So all that being said, though, I did enjoy Paul Dano's performance. I thought the way that they handled his performance was reminiscent of something like Seven, Fincher, and all that. Like everybody else is already saying. I feel like we, if you ever watch the news, like if you watch cable news, and everybody tends to use the same hot button phrase to describe something. That's what we have here. Everybody using the same adjectives and super zap words to get you into it. I'm trying not to do that, but they're right. Those words that they have are fitting for it. And by the end of the movie, I will say that I do think that Dano's performance was closer to getting to where I wanted it to be, which again shows that there's room for progress. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I almost think that's got to be the main point of my review, is that this is a great start. And there's nothing, I'm seeing nothing but up for as far as where they can go with this. And I think that when the next movie comes out, whatever direction that they take, yes, there is a character that everybody knows and loves. That wasn't a sarcastic wink. That everybody's waiting for. Should be in the next movie probably. And however that is handled, I think now that I've seen how Matt Reeves has handled this movie, I'm going to trust and see where it goes rather than freak out over the casting choice of this person. Because I don't know. But like when another certain person who is no longer with us was cast, we didn't know how to deal with that. And then we got basically the best Joker. So, and I accidentally let that one little spoiler out. But if you made it to the end, of this. And that's the thing you get pissed off about. I'm sorry. I really am sorry. So I also want to bring up just really quickly my friend Darren Jakes, who a while back made these batarangs for me with his 3D printer. If you have a 3D printer and you're not making batarangs, what are you doing with your life? Make batarangs. They're fun. They're practical. And I mean, come on. You throw one of these at somebody and they break into your house, they're going to be like, what the? So, you might have a chance to just, whatever. I don't know where I'm going with that. But that's the Batman, everybody. I know that this is probably not the best video ever, but I haven't made a video in a while, and I'm trying new things, as you can see, and still trying to push the envelope of what is possible with what I do here, and I'm trying to actually create stories. That's where this is all leading, everybody, is that I'm trying to actually try to figure out to create real narratives within my reviews and have some more fun and give you a real experience that's not just every other video out there. Even if we say a lot of the same things, I'd like you to be able to walk away from my videos and say, I ain't never seen that shit before. So if you like this review, please hit that like button. It's right down there. And if you're not a subscriber to the channel like I did, I'm using my knowledge, and it's going to be down everybody's throats until you're sick of it. You can subscribe to the channel too. And yeah, other stuff that I do is down there too. And so you can check those out. And yeah, that's it. But for those of you who somehow, as I've always said, watch to the end of my videos like some kind of masochist and hate every little thing I did, well, we can fix that for you and give you a little bit of a break and give you some of that time back. So for those of you who did not like this, please look right here. For those of you who did like it, look away, hit the floor, go to Gotham City, because we're going to give these people who didn't like what I had to say a better memory. Have a good day, everybody. Be kind to each other. Like what you like. Stand with Ukraine. This may be a bit of a cheat because I've given you guys this memory before, but it's still one of my favorites. Bye.
Whole secret identity thing. I mean, I trust you guys, but I'm not sure I'm ready to...
Wally West, Clark Kent, Bruce Wayne.
show off.